How's it going, everyone? It's Gavin from Balls to You, and before we get into this video, I just want to say a massive thank you to JT over at Rep to Chip for sending out these t-shirts for me and Eliza. Eliza?
Thank you, JT.
Thanks very much, mate. I really do appreciate it. A little bit of growing space in there for my daughter, but as you can see, she's repping the Rep to Chip brand. That's awesome. Brilliant cards, mate. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate it. Yeah?
Thank you.
So this is going to be part 2 of the breeding video series that I'm going to do for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy it. Sit back, grab a drink, and let's get into it. So let's talk about the food. So let's look at these ball pythons in a bit more of a species type situation. Africa, where these species are from, places like Togo, Benin, Ghana, they don't really have our species of rat, or our common rat, let's say. So they have striped grass mice, African grass rat, and African soft-furred rat. Let's get into these a bit more detail. The one thing, there's other rodents that they have there, but these are the three, tend to be the three things that is likely that the ball python would eat. And let's look at the reasons why. The striped grass mouse, as an adult, tends to only get up to 45 grams. The African grass rat tends to only get up to about 95 grams in weight. That's adults. The African soft-furred rat, we know as an adult, is around about 45 to 50 grams. However, a breeder African soft-furred rat can get up to as much as 120 grams. So what does that tell us? That tells us that all the likelihood of all the prey items that the ball pythons would eat in the wild are fairly small portions. So that kind of tells me that these animals would rather eat smaller prey items than one big large rat that we tend to give it, or that we would give it here in captivity. So for me, I always try and, especially in the breeding season, I try and vary the diet of the female. So I'll give them, I'll do a couple of African soft-furred rats, then I'll throw in a couple of small rats. So when I say small rats, they're around about 100 grams. The African soft-furred rats are around about 50 grams. So they have a couple of feeds on the African soft-furred rats, and then they have that rat that comes in around about 100 grams. Now, for me, African soft-furred rats are like steak for your snakes, if that makes sense. The content of that African soft-furred rat tends to be, for me, and this is all that I've seen, guys, and this is why I put the information out there. The snake tends to hold on to it a lot more. It tends to digest it and takes more from that rodent, because when it goes to the bathroom, the poos aren't as big. the poos aren't as big, and neither do they smell so bad. And so what that tells me is that basically they're taking more from that African soft-furred rat than they are that normal rat. So, and I know not everyone can get African soft-furred rats, guys, but what I'm basically trying to say, if you can only get rats, or if you can only feed rats, don't feed a massive prey item. Try and feed a smaller prey item, but do it once every 4 days. Okay, so I know, again, not every state in America is allowed African soft-furred rat, but try and feed your animal, or your snake, should I say, every 4 days as opposed to every 7 days. And the easiest way to do that is by cutting the meal down by half, by offering either an 80 to 100 gram rat, and see how you go from there. Because 9 times out of 10, they will take the smaller prey over a larger prey item. Now, you will get the odd ball python that will smash a massive 150 gram to 200 gram rat. Fantastic. But what we're talking about is we're talking about quality in, quality out. So what you'll find is when you've got a big rodent that the snake knows it's got to eat, because it's growing those follicles to turn into eggs, it knows it's not going to fit the rodent and the follicles roughly in the same space. So it kind of has to make a compromise. Is it going to eat, or is it going to grow and drop the follicles? 9 times out of 10, it won't eat, and it will carry on to grow the follicles. But this is where the sort of the food kicks in. To grow those follicles, you need the protein and all the contents and the goodness from the rodents. So by the snake not eating, the follicles are going to become weak, or they're going to grow very slowly. So what will happen if you do get a snake goes on to laying eggs, the embryo may be weak due to the lack of resources because of it not eating via the food. You with me so far? Good. So basically, feed the animal smaller prey items, but do it on a more regular basis. So every 4 days. I mean, you haven't got to do 4 days. You can do every 3 or every 5. It is entirely up to you. For me, when these animals are breeding, pretty much they would feed every night if I let them. And quickly going into that feeding, only do one prey at a time. You hear some people say, should I feed 2 prey items at once, so one after another, or should I wait till a couple of days? I would wait till 2 or 3 or even 4 days later. Let that first rodent get into its stomach, into its digestive system, and then if you feel like it still wants another prey item, offer it a smaller prey item again. Okay, so instead of going for one big prey item, try and break it down into 2 prey items every 4 days. The other thing with the food is that what the snake will see is that there's a supply of rodents coming in. So in other words, if the snake feels that there's plenty of supply of rodents there for her, then there's going to be plenty of supply for her babies. So the idea is to sort of give her the food, so she knows there's plenty of food around there, and she knows that if she does lay eggs, because in her head she's going to be laying those eggs, she's going to be coiling around those eggs and hatching those eggs herself. Okay, so for her, she needs to see a plentiful supply of food to help carry on to go through that next stage. So temperatures and food are important, guys. And what I've found, like I said, is an African soft-furred rat, around about 45 grams upwards, so let's say 45 to 55 gram range, is round about the same protein content as a 100 to 120 gram rat or normal rat that we may get in the shops. Like I said, guys, just think about what food you're feeding your animals. Think about how you're going to feed your animals, and think about those temperatures. Okay, look after the temperatures, feed those snakes, and pretty much the breeding process, or this is the second part of the breeding process, should help you on the way to getting those beautiful white pearly eggs. It's all about giving you data and information that I find that works for me. And again, like I said, you don't have to do it my way, and there's plenty of other ways out there, guys, to do it. I'm just giving you the data that I've researched for myself and I find that works, and helping you guys to give you something else to try. Thanks for all your support. Put some comments in the comment box below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell as well on the side of the subscription bar, and also if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, that'd be absolutely awesome. But for now, guys, I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for all your love and support. There's another video coming up here, and there's some more t-shirts here. Thanks for all your love and support. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.